Hey, Claudio, I believe a happy birthday is in order.
Yes, it is my birthday.
Happy birthday, my dude.
Thanks, man. Um, yeah, we've been we were just we this morning we ran into Manhattan and we did this like the band is in town for a few days, so we got a bunch of press like happening in New York and so we ran into Manhattan. We did this like trivia with some fans, which was actually a lot of fun, way
As in
more
like
fun than I
COHEED
thought.
trivia?
Yeah, pretty much. It was like yeah.
Oh,
And but yeah, so we've been kind of like, that's what this week is really about, and I got to be honest, like I mean, as much as it's my birthday, it's really I've never had that experience where it's like I've shared the week, you know. I mean, I don't, my birthday's whatever, but like
yeah.
but to have it like partnered with the release of a record, like a record is being born, this week, it's like I don't know, I kind of love it.
Makes it more
So
celebratory.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm absolutely into it.
Who curated the trivia? Because I feel like that would be such a fun thing.
Well, yeah. So iHeart Radio did, and it was actually harder than I thought because a lot of it was pretty much like dates. I mean, there was very
Yeah,
little
okay.
of from the lore of Coheed, but but it was a lot of fun. We had so I mean, like I said, way more fun than I had anticipated.
Did you
So
win?
we did. It was like we did two rounds with two different fans, and yes, we crushed them.
Well done. Yeah, it'd be pretty disappointing if I've always seen that when you got the people like the super fans that people be like, well, no, 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 this is the date you actually did that. Like, you've got to be on top of your own lore to know that stuff. So impressive. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like some of the dates I just wrote locations from the actual Amory Wars,
Okay.
because we had absolutely no idea, but we still came and wrecked house. So.
Talk to me. How well versed are the rest of the boys in the lore? Because obviously you're the storyteller, you're the creator of that. They're performing the music. How involved and understanding are they of the actual dates and details of the like concept behind it?
Not they don't have to be. I mean, because again, like a lot, and we probably touched on this. But like for me, a lot of these records are very much like journal entries, like into
Yeah.
my life, and I sort of take that and I sort of mold it into this wild fantasy. I there are maybe some times where I will suggest moments in time that do kind of connect with the story, but with Father of Make Believe, I really didn't have an idea of where it was going until life really informed me what it was about. And so the story really did come after the songs were written. Um, but I think like Travis is always very interested in the story and reads them as they come out. Like he read the manuscript for Father of Make Believe.
Okay.
You know, I'm pretty sure Zach does. I'm not sure Josh. But again, like I said, it's not necessary. I mean, I created it purely out of the Amory Wars, purely out of my insecurities of being the guy in the front,
Yeah, sure.
and I think through the years it was just, you know, how do how do I get everyone on board with this? Because this idea is out of its mind. You know what I mean? It's like we just wanted.
Yeah, it
I
gets
know,
bigger and
like
bigger.
yeah, like some guys just want, we just want to be in a rock band. We don't want to be, what the hell is this? But I think over time, I think everyone has really come to embrace the thing that really makes us weird, and I want to say special. Um,
You can
but
use the word
but to
special.
answer,
I'm with you on that one.
yeah, but to answer your question, the short answer, it's like 50-50 maybe, like
I
of
think that's a
dudes
really
I
cool
know.
thing. And like you just touched on, you got some guys that want to come and just play the music, and that's the same with the fans. You can have some people there that just want to come and listen to the music, and then there's for those that want to do a deep dive, you've got such depth for them to join into. I think that's a really cool thing that you can kind of come in from like as a surface level fan of like, I heard this one song, I'm going to check out more. But then if you really get into it, there is just a rabbit hole you can dive down, which is a really interesting thing that you've got that does make you special and unique in the world of alternative music is that there is just it's not just about the audio journey. There's this whole other concept behind it, which I think is really cool. I
Yeah.
want to talk
And
about.
oh,
Go on, you go.
no, no,
You're the
no, no.
guest. You get to talk as much as you'd
Well,
like here.
I was just gonna say, it kind of plays into the title of the record, right? It's like when I think of the actual song "Father of Make Believe" and I think of the message in the chorus, it's almost like, really letting the audience know that, I, as like the deliverer of this message, can be anything you want me to be,
Yeah,
and I guess that goes for how you consume the band, whether you want to be a participant in the story or not, or however you perceive the songs, whatever you take from it and the personal connection you have with it, well, then that's what it is. It's, I don't have to tell you, as the listener, your imagination is really what's important when you digest this stuff.
over time, because as you said, it started off as being a sort of like veiled allegory of like what you are, what you're feeling, and there's a story to tell it. Has that become easier over time to be a bit more transparent about exactly what you're going through, knowing you can hide it in this other story, or have you found it more leaning into the storytelling side of things and less personal over time?
I think probably more of the personal thing, there's a desire, like to express that because when I started the band, I was a kid. Like I was afraid I wasn't comfortable and confident enough to navigate the questions that would come to me, you know, with being the songwriter, and as I get older, now I'm a dad and I've experienced these levels of life where I've like come to appreciate all the things that have made me who I am and the creative journey that I've had before me. So it's like part of me wants to let people know that. And, and as I see these records coming closer to the end, five of Vaxis is really like is I think going to be the perfect ending to this overall picture, this overall Amory Wars saga. But part of me wonders what the future would be like, and does the future, should we be lucky enough to continue after that? I mean, does the future hold another concept? Do I continue in this world, or do I
Yeah.
allow my myself to be front and center and like in this metamorphosis of creativity, if that makes any sense.
Does that scare you, the idea of being your true self as the front person?
What's that?
Does the idea of like stepping forward and being like your true self as the front person scare you?
Not typically, because I'm kind of letting it out now.
Okay.
When I look at Father and Make Believe, it's like it is so much more to me about what has happened to me when I discovered what this record was going to be,
Sure.
and that really informed, the motivations of the characters, the concept of this record. I mean, I see myself now more in line with the character of Vaxis than I did before. Whereas, like in the previous records, that character was very much uh, based after my son, and I saw myself in the role of the father of, and he's, very much like, I mean, especially in Window of the Waking Mind, almost kind of takes a back seat um, as a main character, and like now, you know, with the story, what's ahead of the character of Vaxis, I see this real connection, because eventually he's going to be allowed to make the world in his own image, and it's like, well, what am I going to do with the future of this band, and how will I, you know, how am I going to, what is the output going to be? And I feel like there's this almost freeing sort of sense where I'm like, I can make it whatever I want. I can,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm in charge of where we're taking it. Look, sonically, this is, I want to say, the most adventurous Coheed album we've had. It's very eclectic. You've got some of the most accessible music, like someone who can, is instantly anyone can get on board with that and be like, this is catchy, easily digested music. But then you've taken it right down the other direction of being like progressive and interesting and convoluted almost. Was that a
right?
conscious decision in writing it of being like, I want to have a little bit of this for everyone, or is it just the way the music presented itself to you as you were going?
I think it's a little bit of the latter. Like, so
Okay.
when I started writing this material, it was right out of Window of the Waking Mind. And that Window of the Waking Mind, I was so proud of. Like, at that time, that was my favorite Coheed and Cambria record. And not because it was like, I have to sell this to the world. No, it really was. Like, I thought, like, as a songwriter, and the fact that most of the stuff was recorded in here. I found a really great producer that like I gelled with and could trust and could
Yeah.
take even like the smallest ideas that I may have abandoned and like turn them into these magnificent pieces of art. Like, that sort of thing. Like I just felt like, wow, this is it. We've made it. It only took however many records to get that feeling, um, but so I was afraid. Like I was like, how the hell am I gonna like I couldn't see a follow-up, you
Sure.
know? So I just started writing. So like for example, a song like Goodbye Sunshine was already written like during Window of the Waking Mind. But it was like its
Okay.
identity didn't make sense for that record. And I was like, I'm not so sure. One Last Miracle, another one. Play the Poet. There were bits of Play the Poet floating around, but no one was entirely sure if
Yeah.
it was worth it. Things like that. So what my thing was, I was just going to write. And so I did. I wrote 30 songs. And so my uncle had passed away. And and with that, like, it got me thinking about life. I was really sad for my aunt, and because they seemed like they had they had to me from where I was sitting, they had like kind of what I have with my wife, you know, something really special. And it just made me think
Yeah.
like, well, what would life look like without me,
Yeah.
or without her? And that really kind of informed, like that made me look at the material and go, oh, these are the songs that are going to work together. Like I ended up writing Yesterday's Lost out of that. um Things like that, corner my confidence, like, so so I had 30 songs and I gave them to Zach Cervini. I gave the session to Zach, and it was like, again, I was like it with Window of the Waking Mind, if there's anything I'm egregiously omitting, let me know and maybe we can work on those. And, because I had an idea of what the album was going to be. And one
Yeah.
of the songs was Corner My Confidence. That came out of that. Oh, no, excuse me, not Corner My Confidence. Well, an arrangement thing came out of Corner My Confidence. But Someone Who Can. That was one that was like, it was like the instrumentation was totally different. Like I wrote it
Okay.
like, like almost like this Americana kind of shuffle type thing. And it was almost more like I was just going to put it out like as a solo record. I was
Oh
like, maybe
yeah.
I'll do a solo thing, and he liked it. And he was like, we should do something like this and maybe kind of fool around with it in the same vein as a Disappearing Act. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, things like that, but yeah, it wasn't until that loss that I really kind of saw what this record what was about, and that's kind of what helped curate the experience, And at first, I felt like, are there too many elements? Is it too long?
Yeah.
Um, but then, one day I just had this listen where I sort of had like this slight objective kind of experience because sometimes I
I
can't
was gonna say,
like
how
without,
hard is it to actually step back as a
oh,
like put yourself in the shoes of the fans?
yeah, it's difficult. Absolutely
Yeah.
difficult. But like, guys fight for songs. Like for like Mr. Nobody was almost not a participant, but like some guys really felt like that's a great song. And I could see it conceptually. Like it
Yeah.
can work, but does it make the record too long? And I'm like, you know what? Like I'm gonna lean on my friends and
Cool.
they like it. And I was like, well, let's put it in there. And I know where it can work conceptually in terms of like the linear story of this chapter of my life. And yeah, like yeah.
How important was it, like you said, talked about taking the songs to Zach and having him help direct that? How hard was it putting that trust into someone else with your baby, your vision, something you've been doing for so long? Like you said, it took you this long to finally get to someone that you like really thought understood it. What was it about that that really made you go, oh, this is it. This makes sense to me now, and I trust in him to help me bring this to life in the right way?
Well, it all happened on Window of the Waking Mind. So, first off, a lot of the recordings happen in places like this. Like Window of the Waking Mind was just a product of the pandemic, right? We
Yeah.
had to do it remotely, so a lot of the writing happened in here, which and same with Father of Make Believe. So like at least the songwriting, and then like instrumentation happened in other places. Travis would come here to record guitars, but so first I sent him like on Window of the Waking Mind, we sent him a song. It came back, and I was like, "Oh wow, sonically, this is feels refreshing. It feels new." But then he also took some songs that maybe as a team, as the COHEED team, couldn't see and brought them to life.
Sure.
Like so, like I had like a demo for Shoulders, and I remember like management being like, it's a little, you know, it's a it was not too far from. Oh, you got it. Not too far from what it was. I mean, just nobody could really see the forest through the trees. And
Yeah. Okay.
Zach took it and kind of fondled around with it and was like, "Oh my God, that's a single contender now all of a
Yeah.
sudden." And then like the same thing with the Disappearing Act, like just the right mix, the right like special sauces, I guess, to not to to sound corny,
I'm with you. Yeah.
but it's like, oh shit, there's another single contender. It's like it's so it's like I've always looked for that. Like, right, like I've had moments. Like one great moment I've had was Atticus Ross and Joe Barresi on Year of the Black Rainbow. That was a great experience. But outside of that, and no disrespect to everyone, but like sometimes it was just like these, we would really get like engineers like to get things to
Yeah.
sonically sound good. But like I was looking for a producer with like a songwriter mind,
Okay.
because I'm like, you know, I'm with this material from the minute it's born to when it's done, and I'm just looking for an objective opinion. Help me get the special part thing out of these songs, and I think he's just been great at it.
That's awesome. I did hear
Just
you say
great
that
at
like
it.
the listening through objectively part was really hard for you, but I think, as you said, having someone that you can trust to help do the things that you can't do and fill out those spaces is super important. Do the other
Heavily.
boys, does like Travis and Josh and that, do they find it hard to be objective about it, or because they're not writing the storyline, are they able to help step back and go, well, just from a sonic perspective, this is how we feel?
Yes, I think so. Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, everyone wants the best result. I don't, you know, I'm sure there are things that, we might debate like going through it, but for the most part, I mean, I think we all just want to make the best Coheed, you know, record possible. And
Yeah.
and right now I just feel like we're really hitting like kind of a stride with the formula that we've got going on. I mean, I personally really love working like this. I mean, like this is
Yeah.
just an elaborate version of like me being a teenager in my parents' house in the bedroom with a 4 track. The
Yeah.
tools are now like way more elaborate, but I get to write the songs in this like sort of isolated, place, and we really bring that. That's like everything that's done in rooms in this room basically is the nucleus of what you're hearing at the end.
Yeah.
Like it's not like we're abandoning it and like starting from scratch, which like that's the thing I never understood is like, sometimes there's this like not reckless abandon, but like there's this there's this like intimacy and honesty when the song is being born, right? Like, and you're in a room like this, no eyes on you, and you get to get into that song and be what that song needs you to be. And like you put that there, and then it's like you get in the studio, and just because you're in the studio and there's like, the Neumann from God knows when,
Yeah.
like it's like, all right, let's redo that. It's like, why?
Yeah.
We're talking about the inception, the birth of the song. Like, let's honor that, you know. I'm
Do you
sure
think
like
that's part of
process.
why you're enjoying it so much, as bringing it back into your own space and being able to do it on your terms from the get-go? Like, is that
Hell yeah.
something that you would not want to change going forwards? It'd be like, this is the way I want to do things now?
I don't want to say I wouldn't change it because, I love progress. I love change. I love changing. But that being said, I love that we changed into this,
Yeah, cool.
because again, like I mean, I've been writing songs in bedrooms since I was like 13 years old. And this is just a bedroom with
Yeah.
shit you know. So
With no bed anymore.
yeah, yeah. So it's like, so I love it. I mean, I do. I love it. I do.
Cool.
And yeah.
I really like you said, like the how long you've been doing it in that form when you're a teenager writing there, and then bringing out like the film clip for Someone Who Can, where you have that like the young kids approach. I think that like that brought so much joy to us watching. Also, really liked the little cameos from you guys in the film clip, but I thought that was a really cool thing of showcasing, being like, we're still these kids at heart, still just like stoked to be writing music and sharing this. As I said, it's a very eclectic album, but I think fans that have been there from the beginning can kind of be like, oh, I can see that. I remember that. Like it still translates through of being like, they're still those kids. They've just got a lot more skills and tricks up their sleeves now, which is really cool.
Right on. Do you know, Nathan, that it's a trilogy?
The film clips.
The videos that we put together from
Yeah.
Blindside Sunny to Someone Who Can, or
Yeah.
Blindside Sunny, Searching for Tomorrow, and Someone Who Can is a trilogy.
I
So
missed that completely. Please,
because we
please
ne
explain.
because we never told anybody. So Blindside starts Coheed is in present day. We're playing
Yeah.
for, the crowd, wherever.
Yeah.
And there's this like elusive like figure that's kind of walking through the crowd. Which
Yeah.
is Blindside, but he's shrouded. Then when you get to Searching for Tomorrow, he unveils the shroud and we know him as Blindside Sonny. Now the idea is Blindside has become sort of this like guardian angel. He's basically
Okay.
kind of coming because he's a part of the story. He like his existence only exists because we created him. So what he does is he shows us all of these existences in Searching for Tomorrow that like could have been if Coheed didn't happen. So he
Okay.
shows like somebody as a chef, me as a barbarian, like all this sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
We did jackhammer.
Until right, yeah, and then so he shows us that, and then that video sort of you know goes into this transitioning white light, and then Searching for Tomorrow comes out of that white light, and now we're in the past. And present day Coheed are acting as the guardian angels, and Blindside, to our younger selves. And Blindside still manifests himself in the video, but in all of these little relics. So, like, if you look at the air freshener in the van, it's Blindside. If you look at the drummer in the VFW hall, behind him on the wall is a picture of Blindside. When I'm at the console, there's a little bust of him. So he's still present, but now we've accepted that the reality that we are living is the one we want. And so through the adversity, we're like helping our younger selves continue.
I feel semi guilty for not noticing this, but also it just shows that we do genuine first reactions because I did not get that my first watch. That's so cool.
Yeah, watch them now all together and just be like,
Yeah, a little back to back viewing session. I love
you'd be
that.
like, These guys are
Okay.
up their own ass.
Nobody's going to understand that. Hey, all right. I've got tough questions, and I'm sure this
Okay.
changes for you all the time. I'm sure you hate hearing it, but I want to hear what's your favorite song that you've come out currently of Father of Make Believe, and adversely, if you had to cut one song from the album, what is it and why?
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a hard one. I'm sorry.
So I never have a favorite. But so last night in we played Irving Plaza. It was a record release show.
Yep.
And we played a few new songs, and I played Corner My Confidence, but I played it solo.
Oh, okay.
And I got super choked up as I was playing it. But like after the show, like a lot of compliments. Like Josh was like, that's probably one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. I was like, whoa.
Oh,
I was like,
sick.
yeah, like I was like, so you know, I think that right now is my favorite.
Cool. It's fresh in this
Solely,
moment. Yep.
yeah, because of last night's experience. Like it felt good. It felt good to sing it. It felt good to play it. It felt there were two moments, if you see that stream, where I choke up and kind of, not that I mess up the lyrics, but the delivery definitely gets a little like subdued. Uh but yeah, like that would probably be my favorite. If I had
Okay.
to take one off the record,
I know it's such a dick move to ask that question. I'm sorry, but someone
yeah.
has to do it. I know I'm a bad guy. I'm so sorry.
Um Man, that's so hard. I mean, there
You can
was
have a very like there can be this just because it could have been on this album instead, or this is something I feel like I'm not. You don't have to say
right,
I don't like the song.
and no, and that's exactly what I was going to answer with is One Last Miracle, because for me, One Last Miracle, I feel like, and this happens with every record. I mean, a big reason why Goodbye Sunshine, outside of like its identity didn't match the record, I held it because I was like, it's not going to get like in the wealth of the last record, like it's not going to get maybe the attention that it deserves,
Sure.
and I feel that way about One Last Miracle. But that's if we're even lucky enough to have a second single. So it's like, but I think as to be, as is, like the record is what it is, and it's that way for a reason. But but again, like sometimes, you have to put those songs in there because, that's what the album calls for.
Yeah, I love what you said about like it because of last night's experience. That's changed Corner. That's why it's fresh in your mind as being it means so much for you right now. Has that happened a lot over the past? You've had songs that you played, and it's because of a live experience that you get this new love for it. Because I've got that as a fan from songs like, obviously, we saw you guys out here not that long ago playing Good Apollo, and having that whole album play in full, and then you encored with a bit of In Keeping Secrets. And I, on the way home, was like, well, I have to listen to that whole album now. And I have like a visceral connection to some of those songs from watching you play them again that I didn't have previously. What's a
Right.
song for you in the back catalog that you've maybe played in recent years, which now you're like, oh, I now fell back in love with it because of that?
Fuel for the Feeding End.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like weird. Like it's like a puzzle of a song. But like if you would have asked me like maybe 5 years ago, like that song, like I could do without playing.
Okay.
But like of recent, like doing Good Apollo, adding it to our sets, it's become like a song that I'm excited to play. Like there's something about the way we're performing it now that feels better than it's ever.
Cool.
So yeah, Fuel for the Feeding End.
Okay. And one last question. I know we just had you, but can I be greedy? When are we getting you back down here? When are you going to come play this album
I
for
think
us?
there's I think there's already talk about us
Oh,
coming
I
back.
love a bit of talk.
So yeah, so I mean, I don't have anything to say right now, but I mean, it's already there. I mean,
Great.
So
Hopefully, the response from when you guys were here last time, as I said, Johnny and I are such huge fans already, but we walked away and we were like, that was just the best. It reminded us why we love you. So I'm so excited to hear these new songs come to life in a live setting and maybe finding new favorites of my own.
right on, dude.
Legend. All right, Claudio, dude. Have a great birthday. Thanks for taking time to hang out with me. I appreciate you. And Father Make Believe. It'll be out this week. That's so exciting. I can't wait for the world to hear it.
Hell yeah, brother. Thank you for your time, man. Like I said, this is exciting for me to share the week, with the record. It's dope.
Hell yeah. All right. Congratulations, man.
Hell yeah, brother. Thank you.